Created at a time when even fixed geometry spoilers and aerodynamic elements were in their infancy, a certain US team was ahead of its time with a device that generated tremendous downforce even from a standstill. The car set the fastest lap on every track it appeared on, but its potential was never fully realized. Chaparral was a racing team and car builder that, after an ownership change, cracked the code of understanding wings, spoilers, and aerodynamics in general. Jim Hall, a descendant of an oil business family, always had a passion for mechanical engineering. Along with his friend, Hop Sharp, he explored the effects of downforce on racing cars and purchased the Chaparral Company to further research and test their findings. Their cars, the Chaparral 2 series, were designed and raced in various US-based races and championships. There were a variety of models made with open and closed cockpits, featuring either fixed or in-car adjustable spoilers. Then there was the Chaparral 2J, which used twin engines to fully exploit its unmatched potential. The Chaparral 2J was made in compliance with Group 7 regulations and was intended to compete in the Can-Am series. As with previous Chaparral cars, the 2J was developed with covered engineering assistance from GM. Its chassis was a reinforced aluminum monocoque skinned with fiberglass panels. Powering the rear wheels was a mid-mounted Chevrolet big block naturally aspirated engine displacing 7 liters. The power output was respectable 680 horsepower at 6800 RPM, but this was not the reason it got banned or why it could easily outperform its competition in the first place. The trickery lies at the back of the car, under the skirts. Jim Hall understood that the downforce from spoilers only comes with speed, so he tricked physics and made the car suck to the ground practically from 0 miles per hour. In fact, it could theoretically stay upside down on the ceiling of a tunnel, but more on that later. At the very rear, there are two 17-inch fans from a M109 Howitzer US tank that were used to blow air out and create a vacuum under the car. It works like a hovercraft, but instead of blowing air to lift the vehicle from the ground for minimal friction, it does the very opposite. The rear section of the car was engineered to generate as much vacuum as possible with Lexan engineered skirts that were connected to the suspension, allowing them to move up and down according to the ride height through cables, pulleys, and arms. These skirts extended all around the car, right behind the front wheels, and with the suction on, the car would lower itself by 2 inches. To propel the fans, a snowmobile JLO 2-stroke twin-cylinder engine was used, rated at 45 horsepower at 5500 RPM. To maintain a vacuum of 0.3 psi, requiring a 52 horsepower output, the fans were slightly underdriven. In fact, the 2-stroke engine was run at the wide open throttle all the time, and the driver had to monitor the cylinder head temperature and adjust the mixture accordingly. Each fan pumped 274 liters of air every minute. The downforce of 2,200 pounds far exceeded the car's weight of 1,800 pounds, theoretically enabling it to stay on the ceiling with the two-stroke engine screaming. Mr. Hall admitted this himself and even planned to introduce the car this way, but it proved too dangerous and too expensive to demonstrate safely. The top speed of the car was 220 miles per hour on the main engine, but even the small two-stroke engine was enough to propel the car up to 40 miles per hour. This is why the driver needed to stay on the brakes during the two-stroke engine start to prevent rolling. The Chaparral 2J debuted at the 1970 Can-Am Championship and immediately made an impression. Many joked about its unorthodox appearance, but everybody stopped laughing when it set the fastest lap at the first event at Watkins Glen. It qualified at least 2 seconds faster than the next best, but it did not complete enough laps to come close to winning. However, its potential was evident. The vacuum produced tremendous downforce, allowing for 2G of cornering force. This was achieved at all speeds, and it was capable of such performance that many drivers could not get used to its grip levels. After putting the 2J on the track, various issues were discovered. The fans sucked up everything, including rocks which damaged the belt drive. The rear brakes constantly overheated, and the two-stroke engine suffered from poor cooling and vapor locking. In fact, without the suction system, the 2J was of no use. Another minor issue was the 3-speed semi-automatic torque converter transmission, which had very long gears, with the first gear topping out at 68 miles per hour. The program had a short lifespan, as the SCCA, which originally approved it, gave in to pressure from other teams, arguing that the fans were part of a movable aerodynamic devices. These had been banned previously by the FIA from the wheel center line up and were subsequently banned altogether. Suck debris that hindered or damaged other cars behind were also part of the argument. The 2J was never exploited to its full potential, as it never finished the race with all systems working. However, it set the fastest lap on every track it raced on. Overall, the Chaparral 2J is remembered as a daring and ahead-of-its-time machine that pushed the boundaries of what was possible in race car design. On a final note, the team was able to get Jackie Stuart on board as a driver, and he said that the 2J's handling was extraordinary, almost unbelievable. The car has remarkably good adhesion, and it's certainly very easy to drive. Notwithstanding the difficulties we've had with the fans pulling in dirt and fouling the belt drives, the car's traction, its ability to brake and go deeply into the corners, is something I have never experienced before in a car this size or both.